Hi, this is Tom Chittum, and as usual, I'm broadcasting from Puerto Rico. And this week, I want to talk about, once again, the infamous Zelensky line and the Russian meat grinder, which I have renamed the Russian meat slicer, like one of these meat slicers they have in a deli, where they just slice off one slab of meat at a time. Okay, and like be patient with me because, as usual, I'm self-medicating with medical marijuana. Anything to keep the quacks happy. Okay, let me, here it goes. Let me see if I can find my rant. The title of this rant is Battlefield Forensics, August 31st, 2022. This rant is intended to help video viewers understand what has actually happened in Ukraine by examining pictures of dead bodies, destroyed equipment, and other conditions. I have no formal training in video interpretation or photo interpretation, blah, blah, blah. But I do have a lot of first-hand combat experience, and I see things that other people don't. Now, I follow a lot of websites, both pro-Ukrainian and pro-Russian. And here are some observations. Come on, where's that freaking, oh yeah, there it is. Observation number one. I am seeing trenches full of dead Ukrainian soldiers, but no trenches full of dead Russian soldiers. I haven't seen a single trench full of dead Russian soldiers yet, but I have seen many full of dead Ukrainian soldiers. This is worth pursuing. Now, consider what this plainly shows, that the Russian meat slicer artillery has been wiping out one Ukrainian trench after another to such an extent that the surviving Ukrainians, if any, just leave their dead bodies and hoof it. I'll allow that somewhere on the web there may be videos of trenches full of dead Russians, but they are rare at the very best, and I haven't seen a single one. Now, normally soldiers don't leave their dead pals behind, and if they do, something is very, very wrong. It's because they've been slaughtered and wiped out, generally speaking. Furthermore, it is plain that the dead Ukrainians in trenches were killed by artillery because most show clear signs of massive burns or massive mangling and dismemberment that are only caused by artillery and not by close-up fighting with assault rifles. This means that the Russians have it easy. No massive infantry casualties to take trench lines like in World War II. Hoorah! And the commissar with a pistol leading the charge. Oh man, those are my favorite movie scenes. And you know something I learned? Those commissars with the pistols, they really did lead the charges. Because if the commissar doesn't lead charge with a pistol, the commissar one higher up shoots him with his pistol. So it all works out. That's the way the Russians do things. I love those guys. This means that the Russians have it easy. No massive infantry casualties to take trenches as in World War II. What's going on there is really not a battle as we think of one. It's more like throwing human beings into a giant wood chipper. The Ukrainians don't have a chance. The battle is over before it even starts. I have seen bodies of dead Russians, but they are generally in the vicinity of their vehicles that were ambushed or laying on the street in a town to do street fighting. The bottom line is that the Russians take Ukrainian trenches routinely with only artillery, while the Ukrainians never take Russian trench lines, or at least not very often. Now that's a terrible thing to say. I mean, these guys literally don't have a chance, those Ukrainians. They're going to have to hoof it or die. Okay, observation 2. I have seen videos of Ukrainian soldiers hoofing it when they come Russian artillery fire, and the bombarded Ukrainians did what I would do. Here was the situation. The video showed a farm field adjacent to a large wooded area with a dirt road separating them. That's typical terrain in the Donbass. Woody areas and farm fields. The Ukrainian trenches were just inside the wooded area and ran parallel to the dirt road. When the very accurate Russian artillery started walking down the trench line, about 6 Ukrainian grunts left their trenches and ran across the dirt road into the open field where no shells were landing. That's really doing the chitsy. Just think of the charge in reverse. Okay, I thought, those guys are veterans. They know the trenches are death traps. Then the Russian voiceover said in English and with a heavy Russian accent, comrades, first Russian artillery destroyed trenches, and when enemy run into open field, Russian mortars on standby, attack and destroy. Unquote. Well, that's more, I'm paraphrasing it, okay? But that's the way they had set up the Russians. First they walked their artillery, the big guns down the trench line, and they knew the guys suddenly somewhere will hoof at the guys like Titsy into the open field where there's no artillery landing. And when they did get in the open field, mortar rounds down the tube, bye-bye chunks. Guys, I got nothing against Ukrainians, but surrender ain't good enough. You got to turn your guns around. You got to turn your guns around and join the Russians and go into Kiev and taking that guy out. He's just butchering you. You don't have any more chance on a hamburger patty. There is a YouTube channel called Dead Ukrainian Soldiers, unquote, where you can see these videos yourself. Video after video of a Russian point man walking down a trench full of dead Ukrainians. One after another. Okay. Break time. I gotta do this. I'm like self-medicating. I had a terrible dream last night. I was so screwed up on drugs and alcohol that I aimed my M16 right at my lieutenant's head. It was terrible, because I missed. Anyway, Donbass update. I predicted a rout of the Ukrainian forces from the Zelensky line, which has not yet occurred generally, but has occurred in some areas. I heard reports of Ukrainian units, quote, withdrawing, unquote, without permission and leaving, quote, kilometer-wide, unquote, gaps in the front line, but there are never any details such as were they all hoofing it mob style or were they orderly somehow. The devil's in the details. If you get a whole battalion of guys hoofing it, the end is near. Anyway, the buzz on the web said the Russians are preparing for a massive paratroop assault in the Odessa area behind Ukrainian lines. Now, here's what I'm tempted to say. Okay, I'll go ahead and say it. The Russians know that they can pretty much crack the infamous Zelensky line anytime they want to. It's a matter of giving it a final shove, like up at Bakhmut. And when they do, I think they're going to do it like they did in Operation Bagration. Just push the whole thing back. I don't think they're going to be fancy about it either. Currently, I'm watching the Bakhmut area. That's a town, and the Donbass is spelled Bravo, Alpha, Kilo, Hotel, Mike, Uniform, Tango. Bakhmut. I'm watching that town with great interest because it is like a major road junction, like in the middle of a spider web of roads, and it is supposedly, well, it's known to be the supply and communications hub for all the Ukrainian forces in that area, or at least to the east of there. Now, understand this. There are no serious Ukrainian defenses to the west of Bakhmut. And when it falls, there is open road and nothing to stop the Russians from a Sunday drive all the way to Kiev. And we'll see. And the Ukraine excuse me. In the Ukraine, I want to make one open statement to you dumbasses again. It's not enough to surrender. If you're a real patriot and want to secure the future of your country, you turn your guns around. Get out of your fucking trenches, fix your bayonets, and make a video of yourself marching on a compass bearing for Kiev, and if any other Ukrainians get in your way, shoot at them. Nobody's going to save you. And you're going to lose. In this way, you won't really lose if you can help the Russians get rid of that jerk. Oh, man. You guys got to stop kicking yourself in the butt. This is you're not sympathetic anymore. You're just beginning to look like a bunch of clowns. I mean, how can any sane person have empathy for a bunch of idiots who keep sticking their fucking foot in the wood chipper? Okay, well, that's it. And I guess I'll see y'all in about a week or so. Bye-bye.